Committee hall is called to order. We don't have a quorum, so at this time we only have Senator Parkson, the author of the bill, Bill 208-37, and Senator Kinanta. Until we get all the panel members here and a quorum, then we will continue. We will return back to recess. Committee Hall is called back to order. Senator Parkinson, you have something you want to make a statement on?
Yes, sir. At this time, notwithstanding House rules, I'd like to reconsider the actions of the body and waive this committee of the whole meeting. We have met with BBMR. We have seen their written statements. We know the money is there. This meeting, this committee of the whole, is superfluous. So I say we should waive it. I make a motion to waive the committee of the whole for this bill.
My colleagues, there's a motion to waive the committee of the whole. Are there any objection? There's an objection. All in favor of waiving the committee of the whole, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Motion passes. We are now in recess, so we can return back to the speaker in charge. Thank you. We're in recess at this time.
back from recess, and we are proceeding with the second reading with Bill number 208-37 COR. Sponsor, Senator Parkinson, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I motion to place Bill number 208-37 to the third reading, and I would like to discuss.
Please proceed.
My colleagues, today we have before us Bill 208-37, an act to appropriate $15,828,000 from fiscal year general fund to fund a 3-month extension of the power credits. The reason I introduced this extension was, as the power chair, I saw that our power credits that we had approved previously were expiring just as the PUC had approved rate hikes. For some households, that meant that they were going to see a $130 increase to their power bills in one single month. With the high cost of living, that is a back-breaking amount. And I thought it prudent to get ahead of that and reintroduce this tax credit that we have already approved and extended multiple times to continue the relief to our people of Guam. This is a necessary thing to help the people of Guam as we try to get towards our new power plant and help our long-term cost for energy go down. That being said, while I have introduced this extension and I fully support it, we have to recognize that there is an opportunity cost lost when we do this. As a chair of other committees, I recognize that there are fire trucks that need to be replaced, roads that need to be rebuilt, pay raises for essential industries like the nurses. And while what we're doing is good, we have to at least come to terms as a body, as an island, that when we do this, we are missing out on something else. And whether we come on one side of that conversation or the other, as long as we go into it with both eyes open and doing it together, we can't fail. We are setting other critical needs aside to use this money to put it directly into the pockets of people, because the need for relief for our people is great. I really like this mechanism for helping people because it's faster than a stimulus check. We were all around here for the pandemic, and we'd seen sometimes how difficult it was to get from the policy of, setting aside this money and getting it directly to people's pockets can sometimes be difficult when there's mean testing or other barriers to getting that money out. But with this system, we can get money out directly to people through their power credits and get that money circulating directly into the system immediately. And I have to say, for those watching, this is not the first extension. This isn't even the 6th extension. This is the 7th. This is going to be the 7th extension. So for people watching, when you ask what the 37th Guam Legislature has done for you, we have put $1,800 into the pockets of every family that has a power bill. If we pass this bill today, it'll be $2,100. And the reason we're able to hear this legislation so fast is because we're standing on the work of people who did the work and did it right. In this measure, I'd like to thank Chairman Senator Joe San Augustine for the original $300 power credit, and I would also like to recognize and thank Speaker Terlahi for the extensions that came afterwards, as well as her wisdom in waiving the public hearings and all the roadblocks to getting this done. Because, you know, I'm a freshman senator. The only reason I'm able to get some of these bills out quickly is because I've stood on the shoulders of these political giants, knowing that they put in the work, and we just got to say yes or no to the extension. You know, as a freshman senator, I recognize that to the people of Guam, I'm kind of an experiment. People have made a bet on me, had some sort of hope in me. But this first term is kind of an experiment on how that works out. And so, for those who put their faith in myself and everybody in this chamber, I want you to please see and recognize that when we had to do the triage of how we took care of this island, we chose to put as much of it back to the people as we could. Not just myself, not just Chairman Joe, not just the Speaker, but each and every one of us. So, Madam Speaker, with that, at this time I'd like to make a motion to add Senator Joe as a co-sponsor, as a primary co-sponsor, followed by Speaker Terlahi, and then everyone else in the body to be co-sponsors to this legislation.
On the motion to add co-sponsors, is there any objection? Seeing no objection, motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm a big believer that the people need this help. But as the power chair, I recognize that we need to have a deeper conversation about what we do moving forward, because there's clearly a need for this power credit, and I see even in the short term there might be need for further extensions. And so we need to have a come to Jesus with GPA and talk to them about what do we got to do so that we can cut costs for our consumers. What can we do to save people money that isn't going to threaten their ability to pay the bond and spread that burden out among the rest of us? I fully intend to have these oversight hearings at GPA in the coming months, because while what we are doing is good, there is an opportunity cost. When you think about it, doing the napkin math, it looks like we're over $100 million through this program alone put into the pockets of the people of Guam. That's a beautiful thing. In this time of need and this time of hardship, as we try to get back to a better place, there is an opportunity cost. And so as we continue on this great experiment in making a more perfect union, I ask my colleagues to support me in this legislation while also keeping an eye towards what are we going to do in the future with GPA, with these power credits, how sustainable it is, how long are we going to do them. I'll be having these oversights with GPA, and I welcome all of my colleagues to ask GPA these questions with me, because the more ideas get challenged, the more we put these feet to the fire, the more we can do our jobs better in this chamber to serve the people better. So thank you to my colleagues who supported, and with that, Madam Speaker, I yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. On the motion to place the bill on third reading, is there any senator who'd like to be recognized? Senator San Augustine, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise in support of this bill. You know, and like yourself, Madam Speaker, we both push for, and even what Minority Leader has always mentioned before, is that we need to try to find a way to bring back or give back the funds to the people of Guam. And if this is the best way we can do it for now, then let's do this. But at the same token, it was also mentioned earlier during the other Committee of the Whole when they were discussing ARP funds. And I think we need to be able to communicate to the governor that this is where we're talking about the revenue base it dropped. And that was the basis of using ARP money. And I believe that maybe on the next round, hopefully the administration can provide an additional 3 months support to the $100 a month support to the people of Guam. And if it can be longer, even better. Until GPA has got the program together and they find a way to reduce the cost to the people of Guam. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. On the bill, is there anyone else who'd like to be recognized on the bill? Vice Speaker Munya-Barnes, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to rise in support of this effort, and thank the good sponsor for introducing the measure. And of course, like he said earlier, the efforts that you've done, and Senator Snuggerstein, and literally all of us here who believe that this program, this credit program, really is beneficial to the customers here on our island. So I do rise in support. I know that a lot of us are literally affected by the power rates that are excruciatingly high. I mean, I literally personally have done everything I can to try and reduce the power consumption. I've given up on a couple of icebox freezers and literally tried to turn off everything and get some LED lights into the whole house. And still, with the power being high, I can understand how a lot of other folks feel. And I just think that as we continue to help our community, as we continue to try to come back to where we were at pre-pandemic and just literally build on the economy, this is one piece of legislation and program that will help our community. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to rise in support of this measure, and Sana Masi.
Sana Masi, Vice Speaker. On the bill, is there anyone else who'd like to be recognized on the bill? Senator St. Nicholas, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You know, when I was a young boy, my dad would always say, "Mga mamala angin malik bidadamu." You know, don't be ashamed when you're doing something good. I understand. Even me, I was shocked when I saw the credit, the benefit, how these things affect us. And I like to applaud the author. All week I was calling him my hero for the ADA bills, but this is another one where it actually is really helping everybody on the island who has a power bill. And even now, if I could save a couple bucks, it's a wonderful thing. And so knowing the rate increases and how these things can affect us, affect everyone amongst us, this is a wonderful thing. And I'd like to again applaud the author, and however we got the ability to save this money, or we've gotten this money, it's such a blessing. So I guess we could just pass it along. So I guess this is kind of like an early Christmas thing, and that's what we're all about. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator St. Nicholas. On the bill, is there anyone else who would like to be recognized on the bill? On the bill?
Colleagues, we're still on 208-37 COR, and at this time, understand Speaker Terlahi, you would like to speak on the main motion? You may proceed at this time. Yes, Speaker Terlahi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I don't think we need to belabor the point of the need for any type of assistance to the people of Guam when they're facing rates that are going up on power, when we already knew before that they were really having a hard time with power and rates of everything else rising. That was one of the quickest ways that we could assist them. We were very fortunate, thanks to, I think, our own budgeting, that we budgeted beneath the revenue projections, or, you know, we projected revenue that we have now exceeded. So we are able to do this today. And the CRER report was just released yesterday or the day before. So we just found out on that day as well. But what we also found out in the last 2 days of hearings is something very interesting. And I think we heard it before, but we haven't seen any action on it as far as I can tell, is that the governor has the power with ARP funds to assist those, especially in the lower income levels, based on the rules of the coronavirus funds, the coronavirus funds, according to BBMR this morning. And she could do this. Or we could cut this in half, and she could take care of the other half with the ARP funds for those who fit the income levels, or come up with another program. And we know that these funds are coming to an end soon, but we've also seen in the last few days, these funds are being used widely throughout our government for salaries, for hiring of personnel, not necessarily related to the pandemic, and now we're going to be faced in the upcoming budgets with, do we keep all of those personnel that would hire with these special funds on, or were they hired with very clear understanding that when the funding runs out? I'm not sure what the plan is. That hasn't really been shared with us, but of course, I'm equally concerned with all of my colleagues about, you know, what could happen in the next few months if we put this money over here versus, you know, using it for any of our other needs. We have very many critical needs. But what really sways me is when I see that ARP funds were available and were not used for this program, that ARP funds are being used to hire more personnel, that even lawyers get a pay raise, that, I don't know, this is the best way and the quickest way that we as a legislature have been able to find to just take care of households with children and elderly, and just take care of them directly. It's not the perfect way, and not everybody needs it, and some people call my office and say, stop that, we don't need that, people don't need that. Well, I don't think they've seen all the people that we've seen. And that's really the difference. Because I feel like if they could see the people we've seen, they would have been clamoring that ARP money be spent faster and sooner and help these people. So I'm going to support this assistance to the households of Guam until we come up with a better solution. And I wish GPA was in here, because I really would like to tell them that if we can't afford their pay raises now, or their pay raises and their rate raises, if we can't afford those now, we can't afford those, period. They are exceeding our ability to take care of our families. So something has got to give. And I know they have a plan to build a new system, and that's going to cut back on the fuel costs. So I hope that that will balance out. But I have people from middle-income families desperately asking for this type of aid. And we know that these problems are also exacerbated by other things that are not being taken care of, including the drug problem. I'm getting calls every day now. Bags of things everywhere. I just think this is not all that the people need. They need a lot more. We need to take care of so much more. GMH, yes, but we've given them money and we still can't get it taken care of. Some of these key things are beginning to boil down to management. We've given money. We can't get an RFP out on the Gumamina Asi Children's Shelter. And that looks like nothing but incompetence to me. And I don't mean the individual employees, I mean the management, the executive branch management. Because money can't solve those things. If you really want to do it, get a team together and get it done. Advise the Department of Public Health and stop flipping back and forth on how they need to get that done. And just get it done. Anyways, I didn't mean to get all, but it's just, those are the things we weigh. And some of it can be solved with money. Some of it takes effort. So I'm just asking again, we're going to put this money over to GPA. GPA, I hope you get the message straight. We're not bailing you out. You need to bail yourself out. You need to make sure that you are going to take care of your in-house business and make it affordable for all of us. And it doesn't help when we see pay raises in the newspaper and all kinds of things like that, when people call us and tell us they can't pay their bills. As simple as that. So thank you, Madam Speaker.
You're very welcome, Speaker. Thank you so much for that. Anyone else on the main motion? Anyone else? If not, Senator Parkinson, you may close.
I think enough's been said, Madam Chair. I'll waive my close.
Thank you. On the motion to put in the third reading voting file, please.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to make a motion to add this bill to the third reading file.
Can you read the number, please?
Yes, ma'am. Motion to place bill number 208-37 COR to the third reading file.
As amended, sir, on the floor.
As amended on the floor. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. On that motion, colleagues, are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. We are going to just take a moment's recess.
All right. The clerks have said we should be ready to vote by 2 o'clock tomorrow. Is there any We're back from recess. We're going to recess until 2 p.m. tomorrow for voting. 2 p.m. tomorrow. 2 p.m.